powered by Riverside FM.
Welcome to Aligned Sessions, the podcast that invites you to come home to yourself. I'm Monica Uribe, the creator of the Aligned program, your 30-day self-guided mind, body, soul journey for the modern day seeker who's ready to heal, awaken, and realign. Each episode is a portal, and you're invited to tune in, slow down, and remember who you are beneath the noise. Let's begin today's Aligned session. My guest today is Nichole L'vov, second-generation Master Pilates teacher with 17 years of teaching. Today I want to discuss the mind-body connection, not just in Pilates, but in somatic Pilates. How would you describe somatic Pilates?
Well, it's taking the ideas of somatics to the Pilates method, which it lends itself to anyway, because it's all about how you're using your environment to tap into the mind-body connection. So it's things like the lighting, the temperature in the room, the sense of the equipment underneath your body and underneath your skin, how you're breathing, the smells in the room. So it's very sensory. And I think that's what makes it a little bit different than just focusing on kind of like, you're taking your mind and controlling what your body does, which is, I think, kind of more what people think of when they think of as Pilates. So we're trying to take it into like a little bit deeper kind of investigative level of finding how can we get the optimal amount of like mind-body connection and the right mindset to tap into the body. And I think that a lot of times in Pilates, people are not really thinking about the environment around them and the things that they need to do to encourage people to find that deeper connection.
And great, thank you. And what would you say would be some of the key benefits of that somatic movement? Like, I know I did one of your classes and it was quite a great experience.
Right. I mean, I think that, you're taking it down into more of like I hate to use the word, but like primal level, in the sense of like how your body was meant to be moved, how your body is meant to function. And if you read a lot of Joseph Pilates literature, he talks a lot about observing animals and observing babies and how they move, and how for them it's natural. It's not forced. It's not something you have to think about, because they're moving the way they were meant to be moved in an instinctual way. So I think a lot of that somatic stuff has to also be thought of as kind of going back to the roots of who we are.
We have to unlearn what we've learned.
Yeah, because, we pick up so many bad habits through our lives, and it's not even necessarily something that we chose to do. It just happens to us because, we're forced as children to be sitting, upright in these uncomfortable chairs and having to focus and not being able to explore and be free with our bodies. We're very limited, and in some cases, even as babies, they're wrapping the babies up. And Joe talks a lot about this. He has a book called Your Health. And he talks, his whole chapters about how all the damaging things that are being done to children that inhibit their bodies to function the way they're meant to. And then as a consequence, we grow up with all these health issues and mental issues and things like that. So I think that the idea of taking a little deeper look at like how we're approaching movement in general, but especially Pilates, to optimize us to get back to what we're meant to be, how we're meant to move, how we're meant to feel, how we're meant to think and function. I think it just, it's not just about getting a six-pack and looking cute in your outfit, which is a great benefit. It's a side effect, but that's not really what the Pilates method was really invented for.
I want to say it's your verbiage, your experience and your verbiage certainly comes out. But in your Pilates class, I totally tune out and really go inward. And I don't know, there's something about your teaching that gives me the freedom to feel safe to do that. And I feel like the benefits have gone, from here to here.
I think the difference probably with the way I approach teaching versus a lot of Pilates teachers, and there's a lot of wonderful teachers out there that teach differently, but my approach is coming from a place of not feeling confident when I came to Pilates. And I was coming from a place of not trusting my body. I was a sickly child like Joe, and then I had a very difficult pregnancy. I had infertility first, which causes you not to trust your body to function properly. And then I had a very difficult pregnancy when I did finally get pregnant, and I was on bed rest for 6 months. And I almost lost my child many times. I could have died. It was really a terrible situation. So by the time I had my son and he was about a year and a half old, I was just damaged physically and mentally in many ways. And I had a lot of PTSD, I think, because of it. And so when my friend said to me, hey, I think you should go do this Pilates thing. I think it would really help your back, because my back was killing me. And all that laying around pregnant didn't help. And so when I went to Pilates and I did one session with this amazing teacher, my very first teacher, she was actually a massage therapist. So she had a very different approach than a lot of Pilates teachers, because she had that very nurturing, calm, open, very patient kind of attitude with me. And I think that if I had gone to the typical Pilates teacher that is like a ballet dancer, former ballet dancer, very whatever, who just takes movement for granted, probably would have tried it once and quit. But I was really lucky that I found my first teacher, Sharon, and she just made me feel safe. So I remember that feeling. I remember what it felt like to get the courage even to come up and go to this class. And it was a private lesson with her. And after one session, I was like, oh my God, I've been waiting for this my entire life. This is something that I knew that I needed. And I just didn't even really understand at the time even how much it was going to change me as a person. And through the private lessons twice a week with her, I started having a lot of physical changes that were for the better. I had never had a period ever in my life. I had PCOS, and all of a sudden I started spontaneously having a period. My back pain went away. I started feeling strong. I felt in a better mood. I was sleeping better. And then as I went along, I got to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling really positive about life. I wasn't depressed. I wasn't stressed out. And I became like this crazy Pilates person. And then I was like, everybody should be doing this, So for me, I remember that moment. I remember that feeling. So when I'm teaching my clients, I remember not really understanding what the heck was happening. So I try to embody what they should be feeling by what I'm saying. And it's not that they should feel it, but they might feel it, and they might be thinking these things or feeling these things. So I try to almost describe the way it feels while they're doing it. So I'm actually physically doing the exercises with you, even though I'm not actually doing them. I'm doing them internally. And I think that it's the combination of giving people the space to feel like it's okay. It's no big deal if you're not perfect, because I think sometimes that can be a thing in Pilates, but also giving them the idea of what it should feel like and why it should be that way. Why are we doing this exercise? Why are we moving this way? And I try to explain it in the points where I remember thinking, what the heck are we doing? Why am I doing this? So
no, you certainly do.
Hopefully that comes across. I think it does. And I also really feel that it's important to make people feel that it's not such a big deal. Sometimes I think some people in the Pilates world, and I'm sure it's probably the same in other movement methods, is that they get a little too full of themselves and they start like they're curing cancer or something. It's just working out, it doesn't have to be so serious. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to joke around, because, you want people to feel comfortable. And I try to make it, the best compliment I ever got about the way I teach is that someone said to me, it's like I'm going to go work out with my best friend. And it just made me so happy, because that's exactly what I wanted people to feel when they came, that it was homey, it was personal, that it was like not intimidating, and that we could really just focus on you and what is going to be making you feel better, for that hour. And it does make you feel better when you can focus on yourself 100% and not think about the rest of the world and not think about all the nonsense. It's like taking a nap for an hour doing Pilates.
Somewhat. A little bit. I nap differently, okay, Nichole? I nap differently. But, I appreciate you sharing, but I feel like so many adults are not lose that body awareness, that body connection. Yeah. And I'm trying to bring that whole approach. And, thank you for being a part of this, because it's about educating and giving tools and that holistic approach
Absolutely.
of coming back to your body.
Well, I mean, Joe's book was called Return to Life. There's a reason why he named that, because most of us lose ourselves as we go through life. And it's like coming back to who you really are supposed to be.
Absolutely.
I just think that it's important for people to realize that you are valuable and that taking the time for yourself is not being selfish. I feel like, especially women, feel that guilty if they're going to take the time to do these wellness-based things, you know, whether it's go get a massage or go do yoga or Pilates or, you know, I just feel like there's too much nonsense happening in the world and we get all caught up in that. And then we just think, oh, we can't really do these things. And it's important for everyone to really like take that moment, sit down, breathe, be inside your body, be okay with who you are, tap into who you really are, because we get distracted by all of the stuff. And then you can go out and be a better person for your kids and for your husband and for your job and for whoever else in the world that you need to be with and help.
Sure, fill the vessel. You can't give from an empty vessel.
Absolutely. I feel like a lot of women especially just don't let that happen. And, you know, being part of inside your body and really feeling it in a positive way is so healing, you know, and it really makes a difference on how you're going to approach everything in your life, you know, and I just think that a lot of people just have lost that. So I say, make sure you just take care of yourself. That's all I want to say.
Beautiful. Thank you, Nichole. Thanks for being here for this Align session. And if you're ready to dive in deeper, the full Align program is waiting. 30 days of curated rituals, reflections, and energy tools for the realignment you've been craving. Head to the link in the show notes or visit Liquid Zen Aqua Yoga on Instagram and find the link in the bio. Until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and stay aligned.